Hi, my name is Jesse. We're talking about buying versus renting a house or apartment / living arrangement. All right, so it's a discussion that goes back and forth with a lot of people, and I think it's warranted a quick discussion, if you will. I'm hoping if you turn to this, you already have done the number crunching, and now you're just looking for some sort of vibe that you can jump onto to really solidify your decision that you may have already made. If that's you, keep watching because this is going to be very helpful, especially if you just want some more knowledge. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with rent. You are going to be a renter, not a home buyer, but you're renting. It adds more flexibility to what you're already thinking that you're going to be able to do. And I say flexibility because let's say you're out there job chasing, career chasing. You live in Boston. You get a job offer that happens to be in SoCal. You can pack up in a matter of moments and leave, and sure, you'll be paying some dividends on the back end because you broke your lease, but you're able to leave right away. You can't do that if you own a home. So there's the added flexibility that you're gonna be able to leave when you want to leave according to your timeline. 2, getting into an apartment as far as cost-wise is not as much as getting into a home initially, all right? So you might pay for, let's say, your deposit. Your safety deposit might be a month's rent. You'll pay for that rent and maybe a month ahead. So all in all, you, depending on, let's say if it's $2,000 for the house, or for the apartment, you might be paying $6,000 out the bat, and that is 1, your deposit, 2, that month's rent, and 3, the month ahead. So you got $6,000 laying around. That's one way to get in the house. In some cases, there's a lot of apartment specials out there where they waive 1, the deposit, and 2, like that month's rent. So you just pay $2,000 for the month ahead. There's a lot, and I mean a lot. If you go on like renters.com, you'll find different events that an apartment complex or property manager is hosting regarding free rent, free move-in, like right now. That's one way to really combat that initial cost that you'll be having to fork over. So again, it's easier to move somewhere else, added flexibility. You don't like the place that you're staying at, you can just leave. When I say that, can leave, like you do have to sign paperwork, break the lease, and you might have to pay, but you can leave. It's a lot easier to leave. 2, the cost associated with getting into an apartment, a lot cheaper. Now, on the other hand, or on the other side with renting, there is the fact that you'll have to break the lease, which means you'll have to pay some sort of cost at the end of the day. You can't break that lease, so don't let them think that you can't break that lease. I've broken that lease plenty of times being in the military. I didn't have to pay for it, but as a civilian person, you'll be able to do the same thing, but you will have to pay. So there's that one thing that you'll have to think about too. That is actually a benefit to you, is that the rent that you pay is the most that you will pay at that given time for that living arrangement. I say that like this: if the light bulb goes out in your kitchen, you don't necessarily have to repair it yourself. You put in a work request, someone shows up eventually, repairs that light, and no cost is associated with that, nor will your rent go up and down, because it's on the lease agreement that they'll fix whatever is broken. That is like the usual. The heat goes out, the AC goes out, work request, boop, someone shows up, fixes all that for you. That is how much it's gonna cost, which is the rent, because they have a management system that actually does that whole entire thing. It's not on you, unless it's written in there that you'll do the work yourself. And if that happens, the rent is usually a lot less than what everybody else is paying around you. So keep that in mind as you are looking to go out there and rent a place. The cost associated, far less than buying a home, so take comfort in that. Also take comfort that if you're out there job chasing, you can move. Something that people don't think about is like relationships, how that works. You find somebody, you like each other, enough to move in with each other. It's far easier to do that, to break each other's lease, find a place that both of you can contribute to. It's far easier to do that than, say, move houses, where both of you are on the mortgage. So keep that in mind. a lot easier to do a lot of different things. Now, if you're talking about buying a home, sure, you're going to pay an upfront cost that might be relatively big. I mean, just for closing costs is 10 grand. Closing costs, 10 grand. Ooh, that's real quick. But the association with owning a home is added stability and security. So you have a home, it's yours. You can do with it what you want. You can paint the walls, you can carve out this, that, and the other. It is yours to customize to how you picture your house to look like. I like that idea very much. There's a lot of different things that I wish I can do to this house, but I can't do it because it's not mine. We're currently renting it. But when we buy our own house, I'm sure there's going to be some things that we're going to want to do that we will 100% do because it's our house. No real flexibility in moving. We had sold our other house to move here because we didn't want to have in the back of our head that something could happen to the house while it's being rented, and then we would have to pay for it because that's how it works when you're renting a house out. So I took comfort in selling it and just getting rid of like the associated responsibility with owning a house. Even though it wasn't there, I'd still be responsible for it because after all, the mortgage is underneath my name with my social security number attached to it. I don't like that idea. The mortgage that you will pay is the least that you'll pay any given month. And I say that because if the light does go out, you're paying for that. The heat does go out, you're paying for that. The AC goes out, you're paying for that. The water goes out, you're paying for that. You're paying for everything associated with keeping that house running. That's not the same as a renter situation, but as you, the homeowner, that's all on you. So that's one thing that a lot of people don't think about. Like, yeah, it's great to own a house. The grandiose idea that this is yours and now and forever and you're building equity is great. But in the event that something breaks, that's all on you. That cost is all on you. Doesn't mean that something's going to break, by the way, but it does happen. So something to keep in mind is like two sides of the coin. There's two good in both. One, as a renter, a lot more flexibility. Two, as a home buyer, you have stability, security. It's yours. Eventually, that house is going to be worth more than what you paid for it, so that's good. It's an investment. But as a renter, it's not yours. You're paying somebody else's mortgage. There's that. And as a home buyer, if something breaks, it's all on you. And whichever way you want to go, I think both have some benefits. But more important than anything else is you got to be happy with it, with your decision at the end of the day. And nothing speaks volumes than being able to rest at night and not having to think about the what ifs. So if you're thinking about the what ifs associated with you making a decision, I think you might have done the wrong thing. Reevaluate, and I hope this is able to help you, somewhat get closer to which decision you want to make. Ultimately, I'm going to buy a house at the end of the day. I'm tired of renting. I want to customize the whole entire house if I can, or do something with it. I want to paint the walls the way I want to paint it. I want to break some glass and put something else in there, like it's my house. Can't necessarily do that with this place. But I love the fact that if I didn't like this place, I could have just moved. I also like the fact that when the heat goes out, I just put in a work request and someone fixes it. A lot of benefits of owning a house, again, and a lot of benefits of renting. But really, I think it comes down to just being happy. I'm happy. So yeah, that's it. That's my talk. Have a nice day.